name's Kevin, and I hate stand-up comedy. I mean, like, hate's a strong word. I guess I just really dislike it a lot. But which wasn't always the case. It's not like I woke up one day when I was in middle school and was just like, oh, you know that art form that gives people joy and happiness and momentary relief from their daily pains and struggles? I hate that. No, when I was younger, specifically in high school, I loved comedy so much. Comedy meant everything to me. It was my whole entire world. Ingesting it, taking part in it, being around it. I would listen to comedy podcasts where people talk shop. I would try to do stand-up on a pretty regular basis. I would go down to the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Chelsea with all my friends, and we would just go there and just see the coolest comedians, like that would just be on TV the next week after, and it was always the best time. Comedy used to make a lot of sense to me. It doesn't really make much sense anymore. But let me tell you first a little bit about my upbringing. I'm from Westchester, actually. My hometown's around these parts. And my hometown, funny enough, is one of 2 towns in Westchester to still be primarily conservative, which I think in a weird way is why I was attracted to comedy to a certain extent, just as like the safest form of rebellion, you know? Like I didn't really feel like doing anything illegal. I didn't know where to get drugs. What else do kids do, like, to rebel? Like, graffiti? Like, is that a thing that still happens? If I was a graffiti artist, like, I would just be graffitiing, like, self-help tips. Like, it would just be like, you have to put yourself first before you put other people in front of you. And remember to drink water. This is my friends and I outside the UCB Theater in Chelsea, the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. We were very much the alternative comedy starfuckers, without a doubt. While people from my high school like were obsessed with like One Direction and Harry and Liam, we were more obsessed with recent divorcees who recorded podcasts in their garage while their cats walked by their feet. And anyway, there's me and Mark Maron up there, and then that's me and my friends with Ben Schwartz. And that's me with Ariana Grande's ex-boyfriend. We love these comics so much. They meant everything to us. We love these comics so much that I would even talk about them in my own stand-up sets back in high school. I've been really looking forward to stand-up comedy for a while because I was lucky enough to see some professional stand-up comedians lately. A while back I saw this comedian named Hannibal Buress, if any of you have heard of him. And it was a great show, but the thing is, since I'm only 16, I had to see him with my mom. Yeah, and listen, I love my mom. She's an amazing human being, but there were certain parts of the night where she laughed at stuff that I didn't even know she knew about. Like the kind of stuff that I can't talk about at a school event, if you know what I'm saying. It was just sort of weird at sometimes, you know? These are some stills of my friends and I doing comedy back in our high school days. Any opportunity we could get to perform in front of an audience and make people laugh, we would always take it. We were goofy and we were ridiculous and we made fun of the system and we did. We made fun of like teachers and I don't know. We were just having the time of our lives. I just remember thinking, I wish we could just keep doing this. I wish this didn't have to end. But that's not how life works. We have to go to college. We have to do our own things. It's not like we could have gone up to our guidance counselors and have been like, hi, so you know those college plans we've been working on for the past couple of months? Let's put those to the side and think about improv classes. But just because I couldn't do comedy with those guys, that didn't mean that my aspirations were dead. My game plan in life, actually, when I was going through the college decision process, was that I was going to major in film at a CUNY, but really get my true education through doing open mics and stand-up throughout the city. And that was the case until at the end of my senior year of high school, I found out that I got into the film program at SUNY Purchase. And ultimately, I found myself at a crossroads. And let me tell you guys something right now. This is the only case in human history when somebody was faced with 2 options, and one of those options was film school, and film school was the safer choice. And so I decided to go to SUNY Purchase. I decided to put comedy on hold for a bit and just really give the film school thing a shot. I started up there in the fall, and I'm settling in. I miss my friends. I miss doing comedy, but I'm getting used to it. few months go by, and the first Sunday of November rolls around, and I'm in the library. I'm working on a college writing essay, and I take a break, and I check my phone, and I stumble upon an Instagram post that will haunt me for the rest of my life. So in the picture, it's two comedians I looked up to a lot, Chris Gethard and Hannibal Buress. And Gethard had just started a call-in podcast called Beautiful Stories from Anonymous People. And so the post reads, "Special Sunday taping of Beautiful Anonymous. First guest co-host. Please only call if you are a fan of the man sitting next to me." So I call in, and of course a bunch of people are calling in. So I just get a bunch of busy signals at first. Busy signal, busy signal, busy signal, busy signal. And then suddenly I hear, "Hi, do you have an hour and change to be on the podcast?" And I'm stuck in this moment for a bit until I remember that I'm a first semester freshman at SUNY Purchase and responded, "Do I have an hour and change to kill? Absolutely." And the guy goes, "Great, all right. So we just want to make sure that the guest today is a fan of the secret co-host. So if I say the phrase animal furnace, what does that mean to you?" And I respond immediately, "Hannibal Buress," because that was the name of his 2012 stand-up special debut. And the guy goes, "Great, okay, you're on the show," and then puts the hold music on. And that's when I realize I'm now standing in the middle of a library. And so I rush out of there, and my brain is going 1,000 miles a minute, and I end up in an abandoned classroom, and then suddenly I hear a beeping noise.
Hello?
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Oh my. I'm so excited.
Oh yeah? So you knew, because I said I only wanted someone who's a fan of this guy to call, and I didn't out it, so you know who you're talking to today.
I know who I'm talking. Yes, I do.
Well, you should say it. Stop being nervous. Just say it. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Hannibal.
Hey, what's happening, man?
What the fuck? I got to talk, I got to talk to Chris Gethard and Hannibal Buress for an hour. Gethard, oh my God, he hosted the Chris Gethard show, and he was DIY and punk, and he just was a real human being and talked about mental health issues. And if there was any comedian when I was in high school that I wanted to be like, it was Chris Gethard, without a doubt. And Hannibal, in his own right, as a stand-up, as the sidekick on the Eric Andre show, as a writer, just an absolute genius.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
My best friends and I have watched the Eric Andre show since day one.
Cool.
Can I just give you guys some praise, or is that weird?
No, I'm way into that.
Yeah, that should have been my first sign that things weren't gonna exactly work out the way that I wanted them to. We continue to talk.
I had an interesting night last night.
Okay, what happened last night?
Apparently, if you drink and smoke weed and take modafinil and Xanax and other stuff, you cry.
How about you, man? When was the last time you cried?
It's funny, I went a really long time without crying. The last time that I cried, I was a senior in high school back in the spring. It was very weird because before that, I hadn't cried since freshman year. It was very odd because I was very proud that I hadn't cried since freshman year. I would say that to people, I haven't cried since freshman year. And then at just that moment, it's just that very non-cool record was broken.
I still have a really bizarre relationship with crying. I can't really do it at all. And just because I suppressed my feelings so much when I was in high school, and it's really annoying because I want to cry. I want to cry so badly, you know? Crying is amazing. It's so healthy, and it's just a system reboot. But I drilled it in myself so much when I was younger that it's just so difficult for me to do. And I think the reasons I did that when I was younger was just because of my views of masculinity at the time, and I just thought it was weak if I cried, and now I'm fucked because of it. But before I go any further, let me just take a quick poll of the crowd real quick. And I know a couple people here, but I'm just curious. Raise your hand if you think I'm a man. No, do it, seriously. Raise your hand if you think I'm a man. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'm actually non-binary. I'm trans. My pronouns are they, them. And I'd just like to say for everybody that raised your hands right now, you're all canceled. Yeah, we have this all taped right here. Like, it's not looking, guys, it's not looking great. It's surprising to people. I've been described as being bro passing before. I think I tend to just blend in with whatever social group I find myself in. It's something that I call chameleoning, and it very much happened, of course, when I was younger, like with the comedy bros, and I'm still trying to just understand it all. And to explain myself a little bit, what being non-binary for me means. Let's say this side of the room over here represents identifying as a man, and this side of the room over here represents identifying as a woman. Then I am, I'm that camera over there. That's my gender identity, that camera. And I'm at a bizarre place with my queer identity, just because I don't always know the best way to represent myself and to just be the truest version of me. Like, one of the things I'm working on right now is I can't say bitch. Like, I want to say it like in a fun and endearing way, but every time I do, I just sound like Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. Like, it's not, like, it just comes off conversation like, bitch. Like, it's not, I can't throw that in there like in a light and fun way. It feels like my brain is just doing a lot of rewiring, just because I was socialized as a comedy bro, and I figured this out when I was in college, and so it's still just trying to figure out just a lot of the kinks. And interacting with my comedy bros about this isn't always like the easiest thing. Like, when I came out to my friend Bobby, in my head I was just like, okay, I'm going to take this very slow and simple. I'm just going to start off first with who I'm attracted to. And so one day I told Bobby, I said, Bobby, I'm attracted to people who identify as non-binary. And he went, okay, gotcha. So you're into like non-binary girls then? That was like, no. But it's really weird interacting with them about this because they're all gay too. They just don't know it. And I know what you're thinking. You're just like, come on, Kevin, like, lay off. Like, this is some sort of superiority complex type thing. Just like, let them be. We used to play slap ass. We used to do theater, gay. And then we would go to rival high schools' theatrical productions, gay. And then when we would get there, we would park the car and then we would just run around the parking lot slapping each other on the butt. Very gay. Like, there's a lot of moments like that in my life where I look back on it and my queerness is like clearly seeping in and I'm not conscious of it at the time. It even happened in my comedy when I was in high school. Like, I was watching some old bits of mine recently and I stumbled upon one that's the perfect metaphor for this, while also just being a great high school bit at the same time. It went something like this. If you're reading a boring book in English class, just imagine Bill Murray playing all the characters. Bill Murray as a cop, Bill Murray as a firefighter, Bill Murray's hilarious, Bill Murray as a nurse, Bill Murray in a dress is so funny. And then I paused, this is clearly me ad-libbing, and I just went, anybody in a dress is actually fantastic. But yeah, so there's a lot of moments like that looking back, and it happens on the podcast too, because I only figured out my queer identity when I was a sophomore, and I was only like a few months into my time at Purchase when this happened. And so there's some weird moments.
Are you dating there?
Am I what?
Dating there?
What's the love life like?
God, no, I'm not exactly, I'm still trying to figure that out. It's not like I haven't had like emotions for girls before, but like when I have, it's just kind of been like, this is like, she's nice, but like this isn't even close to like what I really want. And then like I sort of go into this mode of like, this isn't worth my time then, you know?
I sound like I'm so gay and I don't know it yet. And so, yeah, I didn't have any romantic or sexual experiences at all when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I just remember feeling so romantically isolated and just so confused at the same time. And so, yeah, no romantic experiences, no sexual experiences, which makes this next part a lot more ironic because apparently when I was in high school, there was a rumor that I had a big dick. No. No to the clapping, I mean. It apparently started when I was in 8th grade, and I only found out about it when I was a senior in high school. People would literally yell at me, "Kevin, I see it! It's ginormous!" And I had no clue. I had no idea. They call me Kevin Wingerschlong. Yeah. Yeah. And I don't like talking about this. Like, it makes me feel uncomfortable just talking about it right now. But the reason I bring it up is because I talk about it on the podcast. Because I'm chameleoning, because I thought I wanted to be like Gethard and Hannibal, you know? And so I didn't have a sex life, but I did have a rumor about one.
I'm so glad that you guys get to hear this fantastic story. I found out senior year of high school that since 8th grade, there had been a rumor about me that I had a big dick.
Hell yeah. That's a good, yeah, great.
Sounds like you didn't spin this right.
No, I did not.
And so I deserved that, you know? And luckily, that's when they stopped making fun of me, and we actually went on to have a really great relationship. I'm joking. They kept on making fun of me for it.
Wait, you sound like you don't have a big dick.
Yeah, you keep referring to it as a rumor. It does call into question. Hannibal brings up a great point here.
I'm not the type of guy that when someone says, "Hey, I heard that this crazy rumor," I'm not the type of guy to be like, yeah, it's true. I'm just like, yeah, I agree. It's ridiculous, you know?
Just be cool and shit and confident.
Just be cool and shit and confident. Hannibal Buress, 2016. It was so interesting though. I figured out when I was a sophomore, I actually figured out my gender identity before I figured out my sexuality. And that's how I was able to get there. But like I said, before that really happened, I was so just unaware, which is just so interesting concerning what's my family dynamic right now. So in my family, there's my dad, my mom, my brother who's 16, and my sister, Claire, who's 13. These are some pictures of me and Claire. That's us when we're younger. And yeah, I'm in all the Mets attire there. And I just like to say, if you're gay, you're automatically a Mets fan. No, I'm not explaining that any further. And Claire is literally the coolest human being in the whole entire world. I want to be her friend so badly, and it was last summer. It was clear that she was coming into her own, with her own queer identity, and I wanted to be there for her. But it's not always the easiest thing. One time over the summer, it was just me and her, and I was just like, Claire, if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you want? And she was just like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, but if you could, it's a superpower. If you could have any one, which one would you want? And she was like, Kevin, I don't know. And in my head, I was just like, you gotta go for this. You're losing her. And so I go, Claire, if you had to choose a superpower in this hypothetical situation, which one would you do? And she said, I guess invisibility, to get out of awkward situations. To which I said, touche. Touche, Coco. But we call her Coco. But yeah, the dynamic in my house was really interesting for a bit because for a while I knew that Claire was queer. Claire didn't know that I was queer. Claire didn't know that I knew she was queer. My mom knew that Claire was queer. I was out to my mom as queer, but not as non-binary. My mom was out to me and wanting a divorce with my dad. And my dad and my brother are just playing Wii Sports Golf this whole entire time. They have no idea what's going on. And so yeah, that was the dynamic in my house for a while. And then one day last semester, I got a text from my sister, and this is without a doubt the best text I've ever received. And it's just crazy that she's 13 years old and she already knows this about herself. Like, I was fucking 19, 20. Like, she knows so much and she has so much power. Like, God, and then I just think about when I was 13, and when I was 13, I was getting into comedy. I was watching my first episodes of the Chris Gethard show. And if you had told me that a moment like the one I'm about to show you guys would happen to me as an 18-year-old, I don't know if I would have been as interested in comedy, really.
Yeah, but my backup plan, like I think I'm doing pretty good right now, but my backup plan, if like they're like at the end of the year, like, okay, you're out of here, is to take UCB classes. No joke.
Huh?
Don't even like go to like CUNY.
I just thought it would have been fun to take improv classes. I left that conversation just being really like confused and lost. Like, I didn't know what to feel. I was feeling so much. Just because I was so used to repressing my feelings at the time, I was just kept on just I was just saying general and vague stuff about the experience. I was just like, that was okay. That was a thing that happened. It was like I had Stockholm Syndrome with the sidekick from the Eric Andre show and the guy who was on 2 episodes of The Office. Like, I went home for Thanksgiving break a few weeks later and I saw my comedy bros. And I was just like, what did you think of the episode? And my friend Bobby was just like, yo, that was sick. That was awesome. That was so cool. I can't believe that you had to have that experience. That was awesome. Which only drilled it in my brain even further that any of the negative feelings about that experience I was having were invalid, and it just made me Chameleon even harder at the end of the day. My friends Bobby and Seabass ended up taking those UCB classes next summer, and they asked if I wanted to join them, and I didn't. It didn't feel right. And the craziest part about that is today Bobby and Seabass now write for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. I'm joking. We all worked at the same summer camp last summer. The craziest part about this whole thing, though, is that anybody could listen to this, like an outsider, and it would be a fine, it wouldn't be the worst. It's not the worst podcast experience ever. Like, a listener would just be like, huh, weird kid, but Hannibal was funny, you know? But because I'm me, and I know why I said everything that I said, and because I'm me now, because I'm the Kevin today that I am, and I know why I didn't say everything I didn't say, this thing has haunted me for like a really long time. And comedy just has not, I tried picking up just the same relationship that I had with comedy afterwards, and it just wasn't the same thing. And so I stopped for a really long time. But then ironically enough, the only thing that could help me with my comedy issue was comedy itself. Working on this project this past school year has just been the most therapeutic and just healing process, doing comedy sets, talking to crowds about this, being around comedy people. It's just been so nice, and I'm just in the best place that I've ever been with this, and it hasn't been easy. And I just like to say, guys, I'm cured. I'm not gay anymore. But it took a long time to get here, and so it's like I'm back and I'm doing comedy again, but at the same time, there's a voice inside me that just goes, This should be it. Like, you figured your shit out. Like, why possibly put yourself back in this, you know? Like, why hurt yourself again? And then there's another voice inside me that goes, okay, but what did you learn from all this? And I think to myself, okay, one, I shouldn't have given those guys the power that I did. And two, I should have just been me. And that's the only way I'm doing this. I'm not doing this if I can't be Kevin, if I can't be me. There's no point in doing this if I can't be me. How crazy would it be if I started crying right now? The fact that I set that up earlier. And see, I can't even cry for the sake of like dramatic like purposes. Like it's that. And I'm just like imagining somebody in the audience being like, oh, look, they're crying. If this is it, thanks for being here. Okay, Henry, can you? Thanks. Just imagine Bill Murray as all the parts in your book. It makes the book so much better. I'm not even joking right now. I had Bill Murray as George Washington. I had Bill Murray as Ben Franklin. I even had Bill Murray as Jane Addams in my mind, okay? Bill Murray in a dress is freaking hilarious, and it works every time. Any person in a dress is like amazing. There was this thing a while back. That came out wrong. That was a horrible transition. Shut up, Kyle.